Hi everybody, this is a project where you can practice some of those nice coloring techniques and think about what season we're in of fall. And right here I have some pumpkins. These are just pretend pumpkins, they're not real, but just as a little visual for us. And so what I'm going to do is just show you a couple of quick pumpkin drawing basics to make realistic pumpkin drawings. This is obviously incomplete, but this one is a good one to look at for some coloring options. If you worked on our Aspen project and watched any of those techniques, you might be familiar with this marker technique. And so for this one, I just traced with the orange marker and then used a wet brush to blend it a bit. So if you would like to try out that technique for coloring, you can. This is just using colored pencils or crayons. And so I tried to color the darker area around with a little brown and a little orange, then a little yellow highlight in the section. So that might be an option for you to try as well for coloring. This is obviously a jack-o'-lantern. That's optional too. If you want to make it more of a Halloween type drawing, you can do that. If you want to just keep a nice fall pumpkin drawing, that would be fine too. So to get started, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to move these away. They're creating some shadows here in my basement space. And so I'm going to just really keep this simple. I'm going to start out with just kind of a round shape. Don't try to make it perfect because then it won't look very natural. And actually, I'm going to erase this little bit because I'm going to let my stem come down into it a bit. And so I am going to make a stem, and I sometimes really like to draw some pumpkin vines. So maybe it looks like the pumpkin is still attached. I'm going to let that one go right on off the page. And then maybe even, while I'm at it, why not add a leaf? So I'm just gonna kind of make a little leaf shape here. Pumpkin leaves are actually pretty big. And then I'm gonna add this part to the stem where that's kind of connected to the pumpkin. And so when we're drawing the lines or the grooves on the pumpkin, you want to keep in mind the lines go from the stem all the way down to the bottom. So we don't want to just put stripes across the front. So I'm going to start at the stem and I'm going to make a curve down here. I kind of go side to side, and I know this looks really strange right now, the way I'm drawing it. Then I'm going to come down here and maybe here. And then we will start at the stem and let it head back. I'll show you some options. Now what I want to do to make this even look a little bit better, I'm going to maybe round up these sections a bit. And I can do some erasing in these extra lines that I have here. This part will just make it look a little bit more realistic, but you don't have to add that in. And as I keep saying in these videos, I'm pressing pretty hard so you can see my drawing, but the erasing is a lot easier if you draw really softly to start with. That way you can adjust your drawings, use some guidelines and things to help you. And so that's kind of our basic first pumpkin. And then if I want to have them overlapping, if I want to look like one is maybe behind a little bit, maybe I can just make another sort of circular shape. And I want to be careful this doesn't come down below this one. This is getting pretty close. But if it was coming down below it, that's going to look a little strange. It's not going to look very realistic. This one I'll just put kind of a regular stem on. And then again, starting from the stem, coming down. That's going to hit right here, travel over here. And then maybe a couple more lines on here. And then again, if I want to round this up a little bit, I could do that. I am not going to take the time to erase those extra lines, just in the interest of not making the video too long. But you can see that. Also, sometimes I like to put some of those extra lines in. And then maybe we'll have just one more little pumpkin over here. I'm going to have one maybe tilted over. And maybe this little guy is leaning towards us as well. Let's see. It's a pretty long stem. I thought I might make it into a long vine, but changed my mind last minute. Here we go. From the stem down. And again, doing some of that rounding over. And then I could go in and do those erasures. This one too, kind of clean that up a little bit. And at this point, get creative. You can, again, make this into just a nice fall scene. You can add some, make it into a jack-o'-lantern if you want. One thing I forgot to mention, if you do choose to do a jack-o'-lantern face, I would put the face in first before you do the lines. And then when you're doing the lines, when you get to the facial features, you can skip and do it that way, just so you don't have to erase all the lines that might get in your way when you're doing the features. You can add a horizon line in if you want. All kinds of creative things you could do with this. So happy pumpkin drawing. I'll see you later.